This is day one of $10,000 to travel the world, and we're starting in a very obvious place, the airport. Alright, now let's go over the ground rules. So you see that $10,000 in the corner there that's red? Well, once I hit Tokyo Airport, it'll turn green and the budget starts. And from that moment on, every single cent I spend will be recorded on the screen for you all to see. But of course, I want to be transparent and don't want to mislead anyone, so the things like travel insurance, flights, everything else I'm spending before this, that'll be in the comments for you to see as well. But now that's all out of the way, let's get into it. So obviously I'm flying to Japan first, and we have quite a journey ahead of us. I'm leaving Melbourne about 10 PM and won't get into my first layover, which is in Taiwan, until 4 AM. Oh yeah, and that first meal I had fucking sucked. But Tim Tam, we like Tim Tam. After a quick little snooze, it was breakfast time, and this breakfast is pretty decent. Eggs, sausage, and beans. Yeah, we'll eat again. Now off to our first layover. So we got into Taiwan at like 4 AM and there was legitimately nothing open. I wanted just a little bit of a snack, but there was nothing open, so I decided to go find somewhere to sleep. That place turned to be a horrible place to sleep because I woke up like 45 minutes later and it was people everywhere, just absolute chaos. But now on the hunt for, you guessed it, coffee, because I've had a total of an hour and a half sleep broken up into like 5 different sections. So yeah, needed a coffee to get through this. I still had like 3 hours to kill, so I decided to go pull up and watch some planes take off because what else do you do? And now on to the final leg of the journey. The flight from Taiwan to Tokyo was a pretty easy one. It's only like 3 hours and they gave us food, which I wasn't actually expecting, but this one was pretty good. Little pork thing, pretty nice. Now, are you ready for it? The moment we've all been waiting for. Boom. Budget starts. Everything I spend from this moment on will be recorded on the screen, and yeah, let's see how far $10,000 gets us. Going through security, didn't film anything for obvious reasons because I don't want to get arrested in Japan today. But made it through okay, picked up my SIM card that I paid for, and yeah, now we're on to the bullet train because we're off to Hakuba. So we've got one train, then another train, and then a bus. So it should take us about 5 hours to get there, but hopefully worth it. I was contemplating just spending a night in Tokyo first and then going to Hakuba the next day, but decided to just do it all in one go. But yeah, the trains in Japan are insane. The bullet trains look so damn cool. My review on the sandwich, it was alright. Now to get my snowboard back down, and no, I didn't pull it down by one hand because that thing is like 21 kilos. Got off the train, had like an hour and a half to kill, so went and found some cash because cash is king in Japan. This Japanese fried chicken I got was actually fucking really good. Now finally onto our last bus of the day. It's been a long journey, I think something like 30 hours all up, but super excited to get here, and I got very lucky when I got here as well. Because I'm meant to have a 5-person room, and for the first week I'm here, they upgraded me to my own room, which I'm very happy about. Gonna had a few beers and some much needed rest. See you guys tomorrow. But until then, traveling the world on $10,000, day 2. Now we start our first day in Hakuba, Japan. And the hostel I'm staying at has free breakfast, so naturally, gonna take every opportunity I get for a free feed. Now, if you're wondering why I'm going to the snowfields first, it's because I love snowboarding for the first reason, and the second reason is before I had the idea for the $10,000 to travel the world thing, I actually had this booked in already. So I hate to break it to you, but the first 2 months of this trip is going to be all snowboarding. I'll also try and do some other cool things too, but Hakuba has 11 resorts, and I have a season pass for all of those resorts, so my plan is to hit every single resort and just try and explore as much of this mountain as I can. So stick around, it's going to be fun. So for my first day here, I left my GoPro at the hostel because it was flat, so I'm sorry for the shaky camera work. It was kind of hard to snowboard and film with one hand. Anyway, today was a good little warm day. There wasn't a heap of fresh snow, but it was good to kind of get back in the swing of things, to get my legs used to being on the board again. After 4 runs, I went to the gondola to try and see how far it went up the mountain, and I actually bumped into a few friends from the hostel that I made last night, so kind of just hung out with them for the day, and yeah, it was pretty sick. I didn't really film too much after this point on the mountain because it was just sort of hard to film and do some of the steeper stuff. But yeah, look at that view, man, and unreal. Japan has some of the sickest views. So after a few little face shots, it was time for some lunch. I went with the chicken curry and coffee. It was a pretty decent feed. I can't remember exactly how much it is. It'll be on the screen, obviously, when I add it up at the end, but I can't tell you right now how much it cost. After lunch, did a few more little groomers and a couple of little sort of sight hits, and then went up for a beer at the top there because look at that view. Man, why not have a beer there? So about 3:30 we decided to go back to the hostel to get ready to go out for dinner. It's probably about a group of about 7 of us that wanted to go out for a burger and a beer. And I mean, I'm still kind of in the honeymoon stage of this trip, so I'm kind of happy to spend money on going out. But next few days, it's going to be a little bit tighter of the purse strings, I guarantee it, because today cost a little bit. But anyway, that's all we have time for. See you tomorrow, but until then, it's day 3 of the trip and my second day here in Hakuba, Japan. The past 4 days, I hasn't stayed very much here in Japan, but today I'm going to try and find some powder in the tree somewhere. Let's start the day off with a nice view, free breakfast, and a coffee. The coffees at this hostel are like $4, so at the moment I feel like I can afford that, but in the future, I'm probably going to skip it. I'm still kind of in the honeymoon stage of this trip, so I'm kind of spending a little more than I'd say I'd like to, but my goal is to try and make 7 months on the $10,000, so I'm going to try and knuckle down and actually start trying to save money wherever I can. It's going to be difficult here because the hospital has no sort of cooking facilities, so you can either only eat out or just sort of get stuff from the supermarket. But I did finally have a kettle and a microwave, so I'm going to have to get pretty creative and try and find ways to save money on food. So the day off with getting our legs warm by doing a couple of groomers before going on a hunt for some powder in the trees. Now back with a shaky phone camera because my GoPro went flat. So we managed to find some pretty good powder, but we then realised we had to traverse a fair way over to get back to the resort. And with a few creeks below us, we thought we might be able to get out, but we didn't want to risk it, so we decided just to hike out of there. It was only like a, 100-meter hike, but in the snow, it's pretty brutal. Think of it like walking through sand that goes up to your thighs. Now, of course, I was the first one out of there, so I kind of just hang out while I wait for the boys to catch up to me. But yeah, safe to say there was a few smiles on the faces getting out of that place. But after getting enough cardio for the week, it was about 11:30, so we decided to go get some lunch. This ramen place we went to, you basically look on the menu there, and there's a vending machine where you put your money in, and then you give your ticket to a guy behind the counter. Japan love their vending machines, I tell you what. And for on-mountain restaurants, it's actually pretty reasonably priced. And yeah, I approve. Now, like 2 minutes from our hostel, there's this place called a Foot Onsen, and where you go to get a drink and then put your feet in the water. For day in snowboard boots, this place is unreal. And on the way back, I decided to go get some lunch, try and save money for tomorrow. But we'll see how that goes. We got to film anything when I got back, but now we're heading off to a Japanese tapas. Now, for just under $30 for a few drinks and some food, it was actually a pretty good price, and the food was awesome. Sake is growing on me, I tell you what, I'm starting to like it. Then stopped off after dinner for a few roadies for the hour-and-a-half walk home. But that's a story for another day. And that's the end of our day. See you tomorrow. But until then, day 3 here in Japan, and I'm feeling a little dusty from last night. But I made myself a promise when I start this trip that's going to ride every single day, so I'm going to do that. Also, this is Dylan. He's also hungover and put his skis on in the dry room. This is Lauren. She's happy because her knee's fixed from MCL injury. And I'm Aiden, not happy with the line for the gondola. It's going to be over an hour long. It's a coming of age long weekend here in Japan, so basically means everyone that turned 20 years this year, which is the legal drinking age, gets to have a party the one day. I'm fairly certain. After waiting an hour in the line, Lauren wanted to go do some park laps, so we decided to go to some park laps first. Also using my phone today because my GoPro keeps freezing in the snow. So if anyone's got any ideas about how to fix that, let me know because I'm all ears. So Lauren kind of sent it a little too hard over a jump, landed on the flat and fucked her knee. It's the same knee that had the MCL injury. But she's positive about it. Spoiler alert, she went to the physio and she did an ACL. Anyway, after getting Lauren back down the mountain, we decided to go get some food. I was going to have my sandwiches for lunch, but it was pretty cold, so I felt like some hot food. And it was only 800 yen, which is fairly cheap. Granted, I thought it was going to be bigger than what it actually was. It was time to rack up some lines, and not the fun ones. So after getting to the gondola line, we went back out for a bit. By this stage, the snow was pretty shit, and it was fairly wide out. Did about 3 or 4 laps in the snow, just to make it sort of worthwhile, before heading back in. Before heading back to the hostel, I had to go back and get Lauren's skis I left at the gondola when we had to carry her out of there. So I got back, did absolutely fuck all, and then went to the convenience store to get some food for dinner. There's microwave meals there for like under 500 yen, which is around about $5-ish. And back absolutely ravaged that food and watched Django Unchained before brushing my teeth and getting an early night. Thanks for watching, don't forget to follow, and I'll see you tomorrow. But until then,